All right, let's talk about Jalen McMillan of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was a third-round pick, as you know, the Buccaneers obviously have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, two very good players. But it's actually been a couple years now where they've, I think, kind of struggled with really getting the receiver depth where you'd want it to be. So spending a decent pick on a player who hopefully can come in and do some nice things for them, I think was a smart decision by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But sometimes these guys selected in the third round at the wide receiver position turn out to be nothing. Sometimes they turn out to be really good. So what's the case of McMillan? Well, let's see how he did in the preseason. Starting off with the play you see on your screen. It's going to be a zone coverage concept, and you see McMillan is running a route, going to go more towards the sideline. Also, real quick before I get into it, I do have a movie channel. If you like watching movies, check that out. The link is in the description below. But yeah, the route you see on the screen, really kind of the main way this can work is with the deep shot, pushing the corner further deep towards the top of the screen. McMillan can hopefully cut, and there could be a window past the player who's covering over the middle of the field on this 3rd down and 6. So when this play begins, Kyle Trask, the quarterback, takes the snap, and I like how McMillan cuts. I think that's one thing we're really going to notice watching this film, is you see how he's doing a pretty good job of kind of, not exactly selling what he's doing, but at this point is right where he's about to cut towards the sideline, and then watch how he does it. Trask doesn't look in that direction, but, was McMillan open? Not really. I think that was pretty well covered by Jacksonville, but I still think it was a pretty good route by McMillan. I think both things can be true on a play like this. So yeah, I think the cutting is very good, and you see it, come into play on some other examples. Something like this, for example, it's a zone coverage play, and one thing that's interesting is, so with the, Buccaneers, with a new offensive coordinator, he is Liam Cohen, who has been with the Rams under the Sean McVay's scheme, and obviously they like to do a lot of guys in motion. You see McMillan's in motion here, going from the offense's left to the offense's right, and running a route hopefully going to get into a gap in coverage. When Trask takes the snap and runs this play action, the concept worked very well. You see McMillan did a very good job at cutting as well to get open, but also this motion stuff really does play, especially in the preseason when guys aren't really ready for that defensively. So you see McMillan got wide open. To be honest, this isn't going to be a great throw. Look at how it's kind of towards the sideline. McMillan can't quite keep his feet in bounds. And hey, it's for rookies. He got 1 foot in bounds. That usually for most of his career has been good enough. Now he's got to make sure he gets that second foot, keeps that second foot in bounds. He did try. He just couldn't quite get both in bounds. But still, good job to get that open. Maybe you could say you'd like to see him make the catch as well, but would have been really tough. Although, speaking of tough catches, I'm a Tampa Bay fan, so a lot of accounts I follow tend to be Tampa Bay related. This is probably the one play I saw the most out of any preseason play on my timelines and stuff. This one, it's Jalen McMillan running a deep shot here. There is a safety deep, and when the play begins, McMillan does kind of run by the corner he's going up against, gets good separation with kind of a little fake move, but the safety saw this, and he's getting in position to try and make a play. However, watch this great throw from Baker Mayfield and a great catch from McMillan. Got the knee down that time. So, hey, maybe got to work on that. Get the knee down instead of trying to get both feet in bounds. I don't know. But still, a really impressive catch there and good throw by Baker Mayfield on their one series they had together. This was the one catch so far that McMillan has had off of the hand of Baker Mayfield, and it was a pretty good one. One thing watching the tape, though, going to the Kyle Trask tape is, he could have had more yards, I think, on the table potentially had Kyle Trask been able to hit him. This play is going to be a zone coverage concept, and once again, you're going to notice the concept itself works really well, but focus on McMillan first. When it begins, you see how Trask is looking, actually not looking in McMillan's direction just yet, but for McMillan, doing a really good job at selling as though he could be doing anything, not giving away what route he's running. His route running is, quite frankly, really exciting because he might be a guy who plays a decent amount in the slot due to Godwin and Evans, who also both will play the slot at times, but you just assume there will be times when both of those guys are outside, so McMillan will be in the slot. Route running is really important in that situation, doing a good job here. And then when he does cut, the concept in the way that there was a couple other receivers trying to hold a couple Jacksonville linebackers really worked. There's definitely a window for this throw to be made. You see Trask and him just not on the same page more than anything. McMillan kept running. Trask thought he was going to sit. I would have liked to see that ball come out of Trask's hands a lot earlier, though, anyway. So, well, who knows whose fault it is not being on the same page, all that stuff. That stuff you can work out. It's nice to see that he's getting open, and I do think that if that ball came out quicker, it would have been a completion. And even stuff like this I thought was really good, where what's going to happen is, I'm not even going to break down the play. Just look at where he is on the field. That's where he is. He's the one I've circled in yellow. Trask takes the snap right here, and you see how right here, not giving away what he's doing. I mean, very much could be doing anything. You see the Jacksonville player who's, players who are closest to him, they're very much off. They're giving him a lot of space, even though he's right on the first down marker right here. And then watch how in an instant he's turned around. I mean, the Jacksonville player didn't even realize that he had stopped until the ball was almost towards him at that point. I mean, that's really good stuff. Good job by Kyle Trask, too. If I was giving him some heat for that last play, got to give him credit for getting the ball out quickly on this one. But also, really good stuff from Jalen McMillan. And even something like this, we're starting in the middle of the play just because that's when the broadcast cut over, and I would have liked to get the whole play, but unfortunately, this is what we have. Got to work with what I have. I can only do what the broadcast gives me. You see right here, though, it's McMillan in a one-on-one matchup. Once again, not giving away what he's doing. And then when he cuts over the middle of the field, does get open, gets a good amount of separation, and a good amount of yards after the catch. I mean, this stuff is the stuff you really want to see if you're a Tampa Bay fan, because this is something that, outside of Godwin and Evans, they could use more of. I think Cade Otton has shown to be a very effective receiving tight end in his own right, but getting another receiver who can do this, it's why they drafted someone like Tyler Johnson. Didn't quite work out. Why they added Russell Gage didn't quite work out. Hopefully this time with McMillan, it can work out. It certainly did in the preseason. So, as a whole, I can kind of just speak from a fan perspective for a second. A lot of times I like to say, if you're a fan of this team, this is how I think you should feel, or how I would feel if I were you. Well, I am a fan of this team, and I feel optimistic about it. I think there are things that get me excited about what he was able to do. The route running and stuff over the middle should play very well. That catch that he had down the field was a very impressive catch. And the nice thing is that some of these other film studies, guys I'm talking about are like, okay, can this guy be a number one wide receiver? McMillan is kind of in a luxurious position where he wasn't drafted to do that. I think they have hopes that maybe with Godwin and Evans not getting any younger, hopefully he could be someone that can be the future in years to come. But as of right now, still feels like he could be a solid contributor day one, which is exactly what they're hoping to get from it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on McMillan. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.